Getting everything set up. And going in a few. Um, I'm doing absolutely fantastic, Mr. Walnut. Absolutely fantastic. Hmm. Hello, Kyle. Well, everyone else will be joining us at 8. Carp will be here. Unfortunately, as we'll explain, there is no Dan tonight, and maybe a few episodes in the future as he is across the pond. So the timing is a little off. Hard to get him and us find a time where we can all do it since he's 6 hours or whatever it is ahead. So no Dan today. Hoping for Dan next week. Of course, everyone will miss Dan's presence. But yeah, Jordan should be in here in 2 minutes. Just send the link here for them. We are just ready to go. Yes, I am rocking the Dolphin Orange, of course, always rocking, and the Under Armour, of course, always. Always. Oh. Yet, no. But have you guys all here for us? We're gonna give a little bit of a Charles Schwab preview as well, but we couldn't really find another time to get an episode done this week. Kind of gonna wrap it all in one. Super excited to have BKT back on the pod. He's my favorite guest that we've had on so far. If you haven't tuned into that episode, I'll actually link it in the bio right now. Hold on a second. Because that was a fantastic episode. I don't think we had cams back then. Oh, so long ago. But that was one of the best episodes we've ever done. So I'm gonna find that. Yep. Episode 9. Wow.
9.
No, I was just saying how I'm gonna link the interview with him.
The first one?
Yes, in the bio.
Was it 9?
Looking for it. It was episode 9. How are you doing on this fine evening?
Solid. I mean, in honor of the Masters, I actually went to hit balls today for the first time in
Wow.
a long time, since last year. So,
Good
not fun. Well, by the fall of last year.
Wow.
So that was fun.
How was the ball striking?
Some would say rusty.
Fair enough.
However, it could have been worse. So
Very true. I already started the live and have everything good to go. Just gotta post the links.
Oh,
Yeah, we're just waiting on just
the
BKT.
Aussie.
The Aussie. Yeah. Absolute beauty.
He's got to track Live DC this week.
Congrats to him. That'll be an interesting discussion to have with him as well. I wonder what his thoughts are on that whole thing.
Did he go to Adelaide? Do you know?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I know Australia is big, but I figured,
I think they have like 3 times, like maybe 2 times.
yeah.
Because I looked up what time it was in Australia and it said 9:59. I was like, oh my God, are we at the wrong time? But no, he's just in either Western or Eastern part. I don't know what it is, but
Australia is big. Dang, Australia is like 3,000 miles wide. Wow. Yeah, probably about 2,500 to 3,000 miles wide. Is it really wider than the US?
no
It's,
way.
it's damn near close. I think the US is definitely wider, but it's not by a lot.
It's the last thing I would have expected.
Let's see. How wide is Australia? Oh, 2,400, nearly 2,500 miles. The US is 28. Yeah, so it's not that much smaller in terms of its width. Huh. The more you know.
All right, just waiting on, and then
What time zone is it in Australia? Like
AWST, whatever that means.
Australian Western Standard Time. Wow.
Probably what it is. Yeah.
So they're 12 hours ahead. Huh. It's currently 8 in the morning there. So Jay Spieth would be teeing off at 9:15 at night where he is. Interesting. So holy crap. So if you have an afternoon tee time, how the hell does he do that?
Who?
BKT. Because if you have a 1 Eastern Standard Time tee time, it's 1 a.m. there.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I think he only does it for majors, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Still. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean that's like coffee golf like every week because you always have an afternoon tee time local. To which that's always like in the middle of the night in Australia. That's rough. And I mean the early tee times in the morning, they're still like end at midnight his time. So
Thank you
that's
for Bovada making Michael Block to hit his opening tee shot on the cart path plus 500.
tough.
That is a unfair line, I feel like.
See, if Bovada was smart, there might not even be a cart path on that hole.
Books were smart. They would say you can bet $100 and give you 1,000 to 1 odds on block, but only if you bet 100.
Congrats to the Bucks on cleaning on Michael Block this week.
You know?
What do you think he's going to play well?
Oh, I just saw, but number one at Cologne was a par 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say I saw there's a bet that's 33 to 1. Michael Block to shoot over par on hole 1 in both rounds 1 and 2. If that was a par 4, that would be sprinkle worthy.
He's 33 to 1 to be over par.
To shoot over par, like to make a bogey or worse on hole 1, both days.
Oh.
That was a par 4.
Oh, both days.
It was a par 4. I definitely think about that.
I thought it was an over par score combined, because then if it was, it'd be great value. Just par the par 5 and hope for a bogey on the par 4.
Wait, is it? That might be what it is. Ooh,
Yeah.
That might be worth a little.
I mean, you could bogey the par 5, and it's not.
Definitely not. It's not.
He could easily bogey it. Like, I mean,
Whoa.
we have a visitor.
We do.
Good morning.
He said his thing was lagging earlier, so hopefully.
Happy Thursday morning.
Yes.
Oh, there he is. Got the Team Brooks hat on.
Yes.
What's going on?
Well, yes. Happy morning over there.
Good morning. Yeah. 8 a.m.
That's wild.
Let's go.
Oh,
That's how we
man.
roll, boys.
Well, it's great to have you back.
It's been a while.
It has. It has been a while. What has it been? Year and a half almost?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Ever
Major
since,
later.
Yeah.
Yeah. One major later.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it has been a while. It's all pre-live. It was pre a lot of things, actually.
It's true. Golf has changed a lot since the last time you were on.
The landscape has definitely changed for sure. Absolutely. So what's happening? What's the go?
We're just gonna, in a few minutes, we can get started. I don't know if you have to be out of here by any certain time. I kind of got to be out of here before like 9ish, or around 9ish, but that should give us plenty of time. We'll talk about,
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I just said, yeah, cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
we'll talk about the win, obviously. I'm sure you have your own thoughts on Liv. We'd love to get your thoughts on. I don't know if, did you go to Adelaide or?
No, I didn't. I went to Southern Hills though.
Yes, I do remember. I do remember that. Were you how far away is Adelaide from you?
It's about a 3-hour flight. It's not too long. Yeah, it's about a 3 hour.
I don't know if that would be. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do that. So that's
long.
That's like me flying. That's like me flying to DC this weekend. Not even. That's only.
No, DC is
45
probably
minutes.
Yeah. It's like a 16 hour drive, 3-hour flight. That's long.
Yeah. If you don't have anything like questions or anything about it, we can get going right away.
No, not at all, man. Just fire at me, eh? I'm here to chat.
Perfect.
Drop some bombs for the audience.
Perfect. All right, Jordan, if you have permissions, we can get going right now.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, I'll start off.
Okay.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Go Get That podcast. This is episode 89. 80 episodes later from our first episode with BKT here on the podcast. That was way back in our early days, episode 9. We linked that in the description, but welcome back. Huge week for you. I'm sure your spirits are extremely high right now. It was a fun week. I was rooting for him all week long once Spieth was sort of out of the picture, but I'm sure you're just thrilled with that win because it's been a long time coming. It's been a few years since Brooks has got it done in a major. So
it has been a long time coming. Yeah, boys, thanks for having me back on. Obviously you couldn't get Brooks, so you got the second best thing, which is good.
Exactly.
Great for the show.
There you go.
Great for subscribers and all the rest. Absolutely. I don't think I'm as high as Brooks has been this week. Pardon the pun, but
that's true. That's true.
But yeah, it was amazing. Lots of for obvious reasons, lots of trials and tribulations. The whole golfing landscape has changed big time. Definitely since he won the major, definitely since he won anything really, right? On the PGA tour, for example. So, yeah, it was great. Couldn't have scripted it better, to be fair.
Yeah. What was the what time was it when you won for you?
Man, I think I slept.
Morning.
Honestly, collectively, I think I probably slept about 6 hours in 4 days.
Or no, it's 12 hours. So he would have teed off at 2:30 a.m. for you, right? The final round.
Yeah, the final round. That's right. Yeah. So I was kind
Oh,
of
Lord.
like, obviously I have a life.
Yeah, of
Just sit
course.
and tweet about Brooksy, but yeah, I had to just manage 4 days. So I was kind of like sleeping like 2 hour in like 2 hour blocks. It was pretty insane.
That's wild.
But he won at about 7 a.m. Monday morning.
Yeah.
Time.
Did you have to go to work right after?
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Lord.
The grind is real. Wow,
The
that
grind is super real. And no, man, it was pretty poetic. Obviously some of the storylines going in. Him and Ricky started at the PGA, I think in 2013. So there's kind of that thread there. I guess from a personal perspective, it was a year to the day since I met and hung out with him at Southern Hills, which was actually
Yeah.
pretty special.
was
So a
pretty cool.
lot has transpired in that, in those 12 months. And the crescendo of it all is, PGA number 3 and major number 5.
Right. Yeah. Talk about that. Because we haven't had you on since you went to Southern Hills. I know Brooks missed the cut that week, I think, right? He didn't.
No.
No? He made the
It's
cut?
T55, baby.
55. I knew
Close
he
to what
didn't play.
Jordan finishes usually at the PGA.
I do remember he did, but he was still a little bit injured then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, we're never going to really know. There's probably a handful of people that know the real story behind his injuries.
Yeah.
Obviously including Brooks himself. He's definitely led on a little bit through interviews and such, as to it wasn't as it was worse, sorry, than he was letting on initially. And I think he's made some comments recently around the swelling of the knee itself. The patella tendon repair has only just gone down recently. So if you can imagine, an elite athlete and at the caliber that they play at, how many bad habits you'd start to grind in your swing and the way you play, because you physically just aren't the same as you were when you were playing at your peak. So that's my comment, I guess, on his injuries, and he is proof is in the pudding, so to speak, that he seems to be well and truly over it. I mean, I don't think he ever will be totally over it,
Right.
but he's back. But yeah, definitely was still battling injuries. He was also battling his equipment a little bit as well.
Oh yeah, that was right around this change. I remember that.
Yeah, he was definitely battling the driver, and that was the pre-prototype. So I think it's the new ZX7 or whatever the new one they brought out was in collaboration with Brooks. So he was battling his driver. He was battling his injuries.
He's a Strixon, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
When you went down to Southern Hills, how long were you there? Were you there for 4 days? Were you there for the practice rounds too? What was
And it was such an express in and out trip. I wish I could do it on a private jet, but it was good old Qantas that got me there. How long was I there? I think I got there on the Wednesday or Tuesday. Wednesday.
Okay.
Ooh, must be tired.
How long is the flight? 20.
Man, I flew from Australia to Australia. Oh, well, I went from on the West Coast, so Perth to Sydney, LA, Tulsa. So from Perth to Sydney is about 4.5, 5 hours. LA's 12, 14, and then Tulsa was like 3 or 4, I think, something
Oh
like
my
that.
Lord.
Wow.
That's
So
a
LA,
lot.
Yeah, it was.
Did you
I bet
sleep
they're
on the
only-
plane?
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those things you can get as comfortable as you. It's hard to get comfortable. I wish I wish I could brag and I flew business, but I was definitely in coach, or we call it economy in Australia, but you guys call it coach. But look, hey, it was good. It was fine. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, no, it was a great experience. The funny thing is that I don't really see much of the US. I only saw Tulsa, right? So
Of all the places to see.
Yeah,
of all the places to see, right? But yeah, definitely had some good memories for sure.
So that was your first time in the United States.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was my inaugural trip. So
So your first experience of the United
LA.
States was the
Also,
great establishment of Los Angeles International
Yeah.
Airport.
there you go.
LAX baby, and then straight to Tulsa.
How long was
Yeah.
your layover there? A few hours.
Nah, I had a really good, pretty good run. Yeah, not long.
That's good. That's good.
I think the longest I stayed in an airport was maybe a couple of hours, if that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not
good.
bad.
Were you so when did you meet Brooks? Sunday?
Yeah. So obviously I've been fortunate enough to develop a bit of a friendship with Bob Kepka, his dad,
Yes, I do remember you telling me.
So
because of the
cool.
page. And obviously with all the things that were going on about the trip, I thought, it'd be a good idea to reach out to him. So I reached out to him. He was really kind and courteous and got back to me. We exchanged numbers, told me to meet up with him when I got there. Spent all 4 days with Bob and his partner and his mates and his friends, which was amazing.
That's so cool.
And then basically, yeah, it just worked out. His dad pushed for it, and Brooks was happy to catch up on the Sunday after the round. But yeah, it's a pretty cool story. I mean, they finished up the round. Bob said, just find me when I'm gonna go up to the clubhouse, have a chat to Brooks and meet me down near the gates to the car park, the players' car park. And so I did that, and I waited around, and Bob showed up, and then we walked in, and man, it was like a movie. Literally, there was like one Escalade left in the car park, and it was Brooks's. And as Bob took me through security, and Bob's he's like a big dude. He's got a bit of a presence about him. And he kind of just walked past the security guard, and he goes to me, if anybody asks, you just tell them you're Brooks's cousin. And I was like, all right.
There you go.
And so nobody asked, because no one's gonna ask Bob any questions. Trust me, he's just got that kind of presence.
So
And so we
cool.
walked straight through security. Bob just flashed him his credentials, and we walked through the car park. And as we walked around the Escalade, Ricky was there packing Brooks's bag. So I met him. We had a bit of a chat, and then yeah, we were just talking. And then kind of in the distance, Brooks and Jenna came up. And Brooks is like, "Hey man, Brooks." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." But no, he was really kind, man. He's a really good dude. Really, really cool. I actually spent some time with Jenna and his physio, Derek, as well during the week too. As we were just walking the course together. Really good people, man. Yeah, had a bit of a chat with Brooks. Spoke about the round. Spoke about the tournament, what he's going through, what they had planned the next couple of days. He was kind enough to sign some shoes for me as well, which was really cool. I haven't got them framed yet because I think I'm going to wait to the end of his career, because I was going to get a plaque done with his major wins.
Oh, you
The
got
guy
to keep
keeps-
waiting.
The
Exactly.
guy keeps winning, baby. So,
Exactly.
so I'm going to wait to the end
Yeah.
and see how much he's got, and then I'll put something together and get them boxed up and framed.
No,
So,
yeah,
Sick.
but yeah, it was great. We spent about 10-15 minutes together. Really cool. Just like hanging out, having a chat. And that's basically it. And I was on my way.
Sick.
That's so cool.
So a year later, would you have, predicted that he would, dominate the field as he did at Oak Hill this past weekend?
Matt, look, I like you guys with Spieth. We have to believe, right?
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
As
Yeah.
hard as it gets, we have to believe.
Yeah, and with Brooks especially, like
With the injuries,
the
yeah.
changes that have happened in his career, both and his personal life as well. Getting married, now kid on the way, injuries, having the doubt that he couldn't compete on the PGA. took the money for Live, joined Live, at Live, all of that, you know, the controversy around that and whatnot. I feel like though we're kind of on the uptrend again.
I'd say so.
I agree.
Where Brooks is kind of the guy that you've always, you know, a lot of people love to hate, but I think he's kind of, I think he's endeared himself to Live supporters and non-PGA and PGA supporters as well, because he's just so good, right? And I feel like
It's a
he's,
fun player to watch.
I think now the way he speaks as well, I think he has humbled himself a lot. The Brooks has changed the way he communicates, the way
Yeah.
he handles the media, the comments that he makes. He's a little bit more measured about the things he says now. So I think, yeah, we're definitely on the uptrend. Did I think it was going to happen? I mean, I thought his game was trending in the right way. Definitely the end of last year with his win at Jeddah. But would I have envisioned him to do what he did at the Masters and then the PGA? Probably not. The PGA especially was a really special one because a lot of guys struggled big time this week. And on Sunday, late Sunday, he got it to 10 under, you know. And you compare that to some of his, you know, contemporaries like Rahm or, hate to say it, even Spieth and the rest. Even
We were
Justin
plus
Thomas,
5 for the week. Yeah, plus 5.
and even JT, like the defending champion.
JT had a rough week. JT
He
had
was
a rough
plus
week.
12. Yeah,
He was plus 12. Let it
There
be
we
known.
are.
He's 12
And to be
over.
fair-
par.
And to be fair, he didn't do very well in the Masters either.
That's correct. I agree.
So just throwing shade everywhere we can.
Oh,
That's
exactly.
how we do
Yeah.
it here. But yeah.
No. Yeah.
I couldn't have imagined that he'd win I knew he was going to win majors again, 100%. Like that's the belief.
Yeah,
For him
he's
to
just
come
built
back
for him.
and for him to come back as strongly as he has, getting the band back together with Claude, persisting with the short game coach, the putting coach. It's pretty special.
We were talking, me and Jordan were actually talking about like the two things we were comparing Jordan and Brooks together. And one was like Brooks's ability to Brooks is just built for those 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 under par winners, whereas Spieth's more meant for like 15, 16 under. Brooks is just so patient with how he plays around the golf course. He wait, like his first 27 holes of the tournament is the reason he won the golf tournament. He made no putts and he was just so patient because I was like, Brooks is going to make a run. Brooks is going to make a run because he's hitting the ball so well. Because I watched his entire first 2 rounds and he was hitting the ball so well. And even you in your Twitter feed, you're getting frustrated, but you were like, listen, they got to come eventually, right? They got to come. And they did. And that's exactly how he won the golf tournaments. He was really patient around a course that through the first 3 days, at least, I know it was a little easier on Sunday, but through the first 3 days was an absolute brute. Like it was extremely tough to play that golf course.
Yeah, Bob, I agree, man. I think also his ability to execute is under those circumstances, right? So you can have patience. Every pro that played in the PGA has patience. They know it's a major, they know the conditions, but it's the execution under fire, right? It's the ability to chop it out of the rough and get the exact distance that you're looking to get, knowing how it's going to react, knowing what the greens are doing, understanding that this isn't the hole, this isn't the shot that's going to win the tournament, but it might be the one that's going to lose it, right? So
that's so true.
I think that's the difference with Brooks at the moment, and kind of historically, it's just that his ability to execute with the patience. Guys can be patient, but they just can't execute in those conditions, and that's kind of where Brooks has leaned on in the past, saying that, oh, there's only like 15 guys I need to beat mentally, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's arrogant, but he's kind of got a point. There's only a certain percentage of pros that win majors, and there's only a certain percentage of pros that can handle those conditions the way that he can. So
I also feel like that mindset that Brooks has, that like, listen, there's some guys that just aren't going to beat me, right? Like that's a mindset you have to have, and I feel like a lot of major winners in the past, like Spieth and even JT and Rory, like, even though they don't vocalize it like Brooks does, like they have it because that's just how you win multiple majors. Like you have to understand that you have to believe that you're the best player out there and that with your best
100%.
game, you're going to win.
I think with Spieth, when he's won his majors, especially, I mean, you know, I'm a Geordie fan. He's my number one on the PGA
course.
Tour. I think with
Sorry to hear
Geordie,
that.
it's I think the difference between Brooks and Jordan, Jordan is a real field player. He
Yes, true.
kind of absorbs the golf course and sees things that other players don't see. And that's why it's so impressive when his short game's amazing, because the way he feels the golf course and the conditions and kind of the way he sees shots. And I think that's how he elevated himself. I think he's probably the best field player of his generation, if that makes sense. But the technical is what has hurt him a little bit, right? We've seen it in his driving, we've seen it in his swing. And that's kind of now where he's like really trying to catch up, is get the technical as good as the feel, and then he could potentially start winning majors again as well. So
Yeah.
Brooks is using aim point, right?
he was. I think he's gone back to just plumb and reading in and bringing in Enrique on the putts. He's also setting it up off the toe again, which I found really fascinating.
Look good
on the
Look good
weekend.
to me.
Yeah, on the weekend he was setting up close to the toe like he did in kind of 18-19. Not as exaggerated, but I think it's just the way he sees his stroke over the ball. They've tried to change it a lot. But I think he putt incredibly well over the weekend. His distance control was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Go on.
You can continue.
I was just saying his distance control was unbelievable. So his putting was actually pretty exceptional. The birdies didn't drop, but he was never really in too much danger.
Yeah, he really wasn't at all. I can't remember a
putting
hole where
perspective.
he was like, "Oh my God, Brooks is gonna make a double or triple here." Like he
Well,
really,
six on Sunday was a little bit bothersome, but I mean, he made
What's-
bogey. He hit in the craft on the
Yeah,
right.
that was a bad decision hitting driver. He didn't need to hit driver there.
Yeah, I wasn't watching the first nine of the final round.
But he made bogey, which is, I mean,
so.
perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
and what a bogey it was. See, now you think
Exactly.
about that shot, right? That when they had to drop it on the other side of the hazard because it went in and went out, according to the officials. So now he's hitting out a rough on an uphill lie, and what he hit it to like 30 feet onto the green.
Yeah,
No.
he gave himself a putt at par. Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to that thing you said about setting it up off the toe, because funny enough, I didn't notice that, but I actually have a friend of mine who plays like mini tours, and he sets it up off the toe as well, because he just believes that it's easier to see the green speeds that they play on the mini tours compared to normal golf courses, and what Brooks plays compared to normal golf courses. It's really hard to hit a 10-foot putt the speed that it needs to be. And setting it up the toe really helps for him, because it just takes some of the bounce off the club. So that's interesting. I didn't know that Brooks was setting it up like that, but that definitely seems like a strategy that works for.
So there's guys hit it off the toe downhill for downhill putts because it deadens the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So you kind of get a little bit less roll. He doesn't play it off the sweet spot. Off the toe. That's the difference. So he kind of sets up off the toe, but then brings the putter around and then kind of hits the center. Yeah. So it's kind of an into out putting stroke.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to watch some videos of his highlights and try and find that, because that's interesting. I did not know that.
It's quite unique. And he obviously one of the only guys that still plays with like the whiskey finger down the shaft as well. I mean, the guy's just I don't know. It's whatever he's doing, it worked on the weekend. And to be fair, it should have worked at the Masters as well.
I'll take one of two, 100%. It's not bad.
It's
especially,
funny,
at the US Open coming up.
100%. And, he came out in the media and he was saying, I'm never going to go into the final round with that mindset again. He was saying the mindset that he had for the final round of the Masters, he's never going to do that again. I think he went into the Masters Sunday too friendly with Rahm. I think that's what it might have been.
I was watching Golf Channel over here in the States, and like Brooks was saying he wouldn't give away, what he was going to do different. But they were kind
Mm,
of alluding to the same thing. Like he controlled the pace, Brooks, at the PGA and playing with Victor, whereas Rahm was
mm,
kind of, setting the pace at which they would play. They
mm.
noted on Golf Channel that like Brooks was with Hovland slowing down, just going slow, taking his time, which fits Brooks. I mean, Brooks has been there so many more times than Hovland has. Let Hovland play at your pace. Um, Brooks is the one with four coming in, and he's the one who left
Yeah,
with five.
Yeah.
I think he went in with too much respect for and the situation. Um, and then
Yeah.
once you kind of get too friendly with an opponent, that's when you start doubting yourself as well. So, um, but hey, look, to his point, you got to lose one to win one, right? And
I'm sure he
um,
learned a lot from the Masters loss.
absolutely, and he did, right? The proof of it is in the pudding. I don't know if you guys have that saying in America, but
Yeah, for sure.
the proof is there in the redemption of the PGA. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, credit. I mean, we talk about Spieth 24/7 here, but I mean, I preach it all the time. The more times you put yourself in the picture, the more you're going to win. I mean, Brooks,
yeah,
Master sucks. What's he do? He goes out not Southern Hills. He goes out at Oak Hill. He wins it, and we talk about Jordan. Obviously,
Yeah.
Jordan was one shot worse than Brooks after Thursday, but what does Brooks do? He goes 66-66, whereas Jordan fires a 73 on Friday to make the cut, or 72 to make the cut on the number. Brooks is like, I'm not out of it with two over after Thursday.
That's
He just, he knows how these tournaments go. I
you
mean,
look at you look at all of Jordan's wins for the most part, and they've all come mostly after really good first rounds. Brooks understands that 2 over is, I mean, I'm sure he didn't even expect the winning score to get to 10 under.
He
I'm
played
sure
the-
Brooks was sitting there after
Yeah.
Thursday being like, I'm two unders from being within 2 shots going into Sunday. I'm sure that's what he was thinking. And
I
that
thought
mindset is something I feel like Jordan struggles with a bit sometimes, which is where the two players are a little bit different. But yeah,
Jordan had a good driving tournament, right? He drove the ball
yeah,
pretty
he
well.
drove it
unbelievable.
spectacularly,
Unbelievable. Yeah.
But again,
which
see
makes
now
it
it's like,
suck.
Yeah, it does kind of make
Yeah.
it think.
it's one of those things where he's tried really hard to fix his driving, and now it's
Yeah.
other parts of the game.
His wrist
Might be
injury
something
probably
better.
cost him a
But
few
no one
shots,
was beating Brooks. I'm pretty sure this was Brooks's second most dominant win by a good amount. Besides,
He played really bad on
That's
Thursday.
true.
Like his distance,
shrugs it
distance
off.
control. Yeah, his distance control was horrendous. He wasn't striking it very well. Couldn't make a putt. And so the cool thing is when he spoke to the media, he said, "Oh, I'm not going to hit it like that for the rest of the weekend. No way. Like I'm just not going to. It's just not going to be me." And he comes out 66, 66, and what was the final round? 67. I hate the saying Tiger-esque. It just hurts my brain a little bit, but Tiger never really had great first rounds in majors. If you look at his Masters wins historically, they've always been around even.
He shoots like 70, like every single
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
And so when Brooks hit 72 on that Thursday, I kind of thought, you know what, like historically majors have been won from this position a lot.
Yeah.
And if you look at
Yeah.
arguably the greatest of all time, he started a lot of rounds around even. So a lot of major wins, especially around even. So yeah, it was a very cool experience. What about these rumors about Spieth going to live? Have you guys heard about that?
nah, they're pretty dead.
That doesn't appear to be happening.
Yeah, I'm sure he was offered a hefty amount of cash. Well, we could turn that question around. What are the rumors about Brooks trying to get back to
There
the
we
PGA
go.
Tour? Is there any truth to that you've heard? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it happening because again, Brooks is one of my 5 favorite players in golf, so I would love to see him come back.
Great segue. Claude Hardman came out literally yesterday and said that
I saw that.
yeah, he said that Brooks hasn't mentioned the PGA. there's no one that's had more meetings about their team, and with Liv, and like really, really, really pushing this narrative about Brooks has no intentions of going back to the PGA, doesn't talk about the PGA, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Well,
oh, actually, I might have misspoken there. I don't know if he said no intentions of going back to the PGA, but no intentions of anything to do with the PGA at the moment. It was all very Liv centric.
so so like starting from the beginning, I guess, when you first heard, or when it was announced that he was going to Live, what were your thoughts there? And now how have your thoughts changed? Do you think it's good for
Yeah.
him? Because I read something, I forget if it was sent in the chat that we have, Jordan, but like it was something about how the best major players throughout the years have played 14 to 16 tournaments, whereas all the players now are playing 22, 23 on the PGA Tour. So I don't know what your thoughts are. Do you think it gives him an up hand in the majors?
Look, Brooks could play on the moon and still turn up in majors if he's healthy. I think
That's
it's
a good
like,
point.
do you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It comes down to the individual at the end of the day, and how you manage your schedule and your body and your mind. And when you turn up 4 times a year, how are you going to perform? Going back, like when I was at Southern Hills and talking to his dad, this little bit of inside baseball, his dad was adamant about him not going to Live.
Wow.
And when did he go to Live? What time?
It wasn't much longer after that, to be honest. I can't remember,
it
but
was like a month maybe, right?
If it was definitely post PGA. And his dad was really adamant. He's like, Brooks is playing for legacy, because this is when the rumors were swirling around Chase joining.
Okay.
And he's like, Chase just needs a chance. He just needs a chance to play golf and play competitive golf. It's really hard to get onto the PGA Tour in the current system.
And he and Chase kind of lived that like just Monday grinder mode for a long time, like a long time enough where, I mean, obviously I'm sure Brooks has helped Chase in terms of a name standpoint, but
without a doubt,
that's a tough living. That's a tough living playing those Monday qualifiers. Like that's not easy money playing golf.
Yeah.
Like that.
And they call it like the calf cow, right? You steal the calf to get the cow.
Right. Yeah.
So I can't imagine a world in which it wasn't either a sweetener for Brooks to join or it was a part of the deal.
That is exactly what Jordan and I thought when Brooks joined.
I'm not privy to that information, but it's it's pretty obvious. But Bob was saying Brooks is here for legacy, like legacy. It's all about majors. It's all about his mission to etch himself in history. But
honestly,
wow, that's cool.
Honestly, he's still given that chance at the majors. Like that's what I'm.
He's qualified for all of them. Yeah.
Like obviously, but now he's got. I mean, he's got lifetime to the Open, right? U.S. Open.
U.S.
He's got lifetime to the U.S. Open. PGA. Lifetime.
I mean, he's got a 5-year exemption based.
And he's got 5 years exemption for everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I really.
He's set. Screw the OWGR. He just keeps winning them. It doesn't need the OWGR.
Yeah. And now what is he? What is he even in the official world golf ranking after that win?
13.
Right behind Jordan.
It's 13, and that's without any other points. They haven't awarded any other points to them, so it's pretty.
He's that is like not even like. I mean, obviously there are some points from 2 years ago, but like he was injured, but like. That he's literally 13th based solely on the Masters and PGA with a 40 divisor, which is pretty impressive.
It's cool. Dude. So when I was at Southern Hills, I didn't think he was going to join. And then the rumors really started swirling, and then the numbers started coming out, and then obviously it was like the worst kept secret that he was going. Look, initially I definitely wasn't happy about the move, only because I knew that it was going to impact his PGA Tour career. which meant less golf, which meant less opportunities to win historic tournaments. And potentially at that point, with everything up in the air, meant that he might not be able to play the majors. So now I think there's a place in golf for live. I think the product is a little confused. I honestly think that they would have had potentially a bit more run or success in the future if they kept themselves like a exclusive invitational, like big money exhibition golf, where they could potentially incentivize players from the PGA or DP to come and play like a live golf event, experience it. It's like hard, like fast golf, 3 rounds, playing for big money all over the world. But then they've kind of now turned it in the team. Then they got the team thing. They've got contracted players. They're trying to emulate almost like an F1 type of feel. Now they're talking about relegation. But how is relegation going to work for individuals? Because then does that mean, free agents that who have gone through their qualifying, free agents are going to come up, but then those free agents have to be slotted into the team positions that the guy individually was relegated by. And
if you create something like that, I mean,
really,
I honestly, right now, like obviously the PGA Tour is trying to turn everyone against live, but like long term, that's not a bad strategy to get viewers. I mean, it's definitely a really cool format if you were to do like some sort of relegation thing, make people work their way up, have people playing in tournaments for a lot less money, but if you play well, you get to move up to the big money. Like that's definitely a model that could work in the future. But
Sounds like designated events on the tour going forward.
yeah.
And look, I think that if I had a crystal ball, and if somebody said, there's people that make way more money than me and are a lot smarter than me that have made these decisions, but if I would not have tried to be a competing tour. I would have been trying to be an alternative in terms of a product that the guys who play on the tour can kind of come almost like a selected group, right? You get 25 guys, no cut, the best in the world based on like the world rankings. And they come in and play like big money tournament, like once a month or once every 2 months or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're trying to compete almost like as an alternate tour now. But yeah, the relegation, that's what the second season is going to be, Bob. It's going to be about guys being relegated based on the points on an individual basis. So they're not going to be able to play on the live tour anymore. They're going to go, I think the MENA tour, whatever it is.
Like the Asian tour?
Asian or MENA or something like that, the ones that they got to deal with. But the confusing thing for me is like, say a guy does really well on the MENA tour and, for argument's sake, let's say Cam Smith has a horrendous season, right? One of the biggest Aussie superstars, blah, blah, blah. Say Cam Smith plays really bad in the Live League. He's totally fallen off the world. He gets down to the final place in the individual rankings. And then you got a guy coming up from MENA that's qualified up. Does that mean then he's joining the Rippers? So Cam's been
That is interesting.
and then there's a guy going into the Rippers, but that guy's like a stranger, right? Or do you then have a team that's just like free agents? And I don't know how they're going to do it. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah.
I have a big question for you.
Yeah, go on.
Do you own any Smash GC merchandise?
Yeah, only the stuff they're going to send me. No, I don't. And they haven't sent me anything yet either.
Oh, man.
I
That
don't
sucks.
actually. I should get a Smash t-shirt or something, but I don't mind.
Does it get you going? Like, do you enjoy watching live? Is it something that can, like, I know obviously you are someone who your mindset's like Brooks, like you live for the majors, right? The night you're up long, it's for the majors, right? But like,
yeah.
When he was in contention at PGA Tour events, you get into them as well, and they were still exciting. Do you get into the live tournaments like that, or is it just not something that you can really get yourself to enjoy?
Get my juices flowing for it. The reason why I got into the PGA Tour events is one, tracking, right? Watching golf. It's accessible. 9 out of 10 tournaments he was featured. So it was easier to watch him and track him. Live because of the shotgun start, it's really hard to watch the golf live, for me especially. And because their product isn't there in terms of like shot tracking and stuff, it's actually really hard to track as well. So you can't really do what we do with the Live Tour at the moment, unless they're in what they call their featured groups and you're watching it live and you're able to see the shots. Do I think it's, yeah, look, when he's been in contention and it's been great. I've got up definitely for the Sundays. I like the team aspect of it. I think that it's fun. And it's been good golf. It's been exciting, good golf.
It's true. Yeah.
And I think they were saying on Twitter, some guy, I can't remember, a shout out to whoever he was, but he came up with kind of the stroke averages for the Live Tour events and the PGA Tour events. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but basically Liv's playing like a stroke above in terms of difficulty of courses. I know it's only obviously like a small, it's like a small data field, so to speak.
Yeah. But like, there's no doubt that it's still good golf. Like it's, the players over there are good. Like there's no doubt about it.
And they're contending at the majors. That's how
They are
contending. Really.
And I know Jordan, like I know you were like, I feel like the team aspect, as you mentioned, would kind of be interesting for people like us who, when Jordan's T50 on a Sunday, when to be honest, we're up and we really don't care much except for like trying to see something build for the next week, right? Like we don't care if you top 40s or T52s, right? Like it's not something.
Well, you're a range goat fan, Bob. Like imagine Spieth being a range goat.
Well, like I can sadly say I have not watched a single shot of range goats action this year, but some would say that's just the team I chose out of the blue. I don't know why I chose them. I guess I like their logo and their colors.
Yeah,
but I mean, like when like it would give us a reason to like say there was a team aspect on the tour while we were tracking, like it would kind of give us a reason for something to root for, like if Jordan's team was in contention, right? So I see how that could be fun from a tracking aspect.
I think they need to balance the teams though.
Yeah,
I feel like the four
really
races win like every other event, and
yeah, it does fall off.
and what is it? The Majestics are all senior citizens.
Yeah. I think there's a place for Live in the landscape. I think if they can get to a point where PGA Tour players can be invited to play some events, that would be great. I don't know if the exchange back is ever going to work, because I can understand it from a player's perspective that stayed on the PGA. It's like, well, you're offered a big contract, you've gone over there, and now you're kind of trying to come back and play our events. But with that said, I also think that there shouldn't be any restrictions to how a professional plays golf and where they play.
I agree. Golf. Yeah, I think my point of view is like, listen, if they want to go over there and contract and live, then fine. Like they shouldn't be given the same. They shouldn't be allowed to play for the FedEx Cup. They shouldn't be allowed to play for the same things that a member gets. But like, if Brooks Koepka qualifies for certain PGA Tour events through winning a major, I think he should be able to play them, even if he's not a member, even if he doesn't get PGA Tour FedEx Cup points for them. He can't play for the season-long race. Sure, like you're on the Live Tour, but I feel like if you qualify the same way some like college player qualifies, if a college player qualifies for a tournament or gets an exemption or something, like they don't get FedEx Cup points, they're not a member, but they should be allowed to play if they qualify. I don't think there should be a ban on Live players purely because they're Live. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, look, and what that comes down to is an unbiased official golf world ranking.
The TUGR.
And having the points awarded to professional golf tournaments globally. And however whatever that criteria is, and Live hopefully will get there, but then you should be able to play wherever you want. If you're ranked high enough and you've got the points, the best want to play the best, wherever that is, wherever that that is competed at, then they should be able to play.
Well,
I think it's still a little confusing for me. I think that what Liv is going to do in order for players to potentially go back to the PGA and exchange. I think they're making it more difficult for themselves with the team aspect, and just the way that it's structured moving forward, which means that it's going to be hard for guys, even if it's allowed for guys to say play PGA Tour events, especially if there's conflict and so on and so forth. But who knows, man? It's good. It's still up in the air, but who knows? I mean, even like the DP tour, the PGA don't see them as threat. Now that's become like almost like an official feeder tour for the PGA. It's really watered down the DP tour. But it's technically still a competing tour. With funding
Sure.
from the East and so on and so forth. So I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy times.
Will you be waking up for Live DC in a couple days, or a day for you, I guess?
I think Brooks is still going to be hungover. So I don't.
Brooks has
I
been
don't
on a
think-
little bit of a bender this weekend
Big time-
from what
big
I've
time
seen, or this
bender.
week, I guess.
Yeah, big time bender. Yeah, even he said, pardon my take, that he's like, I don't know how this live event's going to go in Washington. Right.
Don't
you know
put your
what?
money, or yeah, don't put your money on Brooks or don't put your money on Smash Golf Club this week, is what he said.
The thing I like about Brooks at the moment, I feel like he loves golf again. Like
He
he's
definitely
really getting,
seems like he does.
yeah, like he's feeling like his body's there, and he's contending in the Live Tour events. Like, he's doing really, really well. I had some stats. Oh, let me just bring this one up. This is a really good stat. Like, where is it? I think from like 6 starts, he's won 2 out of 6 starts, and the worst his place is like T15th or something, won Live events.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So it's doing really well. It's
US
good to
Open's what, 3-4 weeks away?
Yeah, and it's in LA, which is like 16 hours difference. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, dude.
We were talking, Bob and I were talking before you hopped on, like the afternoon tea time here for you is in the middle of the night, which is just brutal. I don't know how you did it when Brooks was like on the PGA tour, and like every single week there's an afternoon tea time, and it's like what, 2 a.m. where you are?
Well, yeah. So right now in California, it's 5:53 p.m. and it's 8:53 here. So that's what, 15 hours. So yeah, I don't know. We just get up for it. That's how we do it, Jordan. We just rock and roll, dude.
I mean, with
Lot-
how
lot-
he's playing, like, I mean, he's making it worth your while. That's for
A
sure.
lot of coffee.
Yeah, maybe too much coffee, if I'm being honest. Maybe too much coffee, but hey, man, it was worth it. Like, before that, it was just an amazing tournament.
I bet it was.
It was just incredible.
I mean, there's nothing better than being in contention at a major. I mean, nothing beats
And I
it.
think I think he's going to get up for playing the US Open in LA. And I don't know, man. Can he win?
I mean, I'm sure his entire focus right now is on Los Angeles Country Club. Like, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure I don't even, how many live events are even in between? I know there's DC and then what, maybe
Washington.
one more.
Maybe. I'll check that.
I love that he doesn't even know. I love that, like, the live events are like no one
Off
even
the
knows.
radar.
Man, they don't do a great job. Like,
They really
give me
don't.
ac-
Yeah, I never see the schedule anywhere.
Give me access. You've got all this money. Set up a proper shot tracker.
That's true. They should
You know what
invest.
I mean? Like, do something. You're saying you've got featured groups. You've got one stream going. You've got one, like,
All this money and like, I mean,
yeah. Don't talk shit to me, and then fucking don't give me anything in terms of access. I need access.
It's a
I
good
need to
point. I
watch it.
feel like with all of the complaining that goes on the PGA Tour from fans about awful coverage, I feel like that's something that Liv could
Oh,
jump
man,
on and be
it's-
like,
PJ, yeah, exactly. The tour, man. PJ, we had some good times tracking.
I remember you and Golf TV going at it in the mentions.
Golf TV, PGA Tour Live, man, that PGA Tour Live account doesn't tweet anyone. They tweet back to me.
Yeah, they're quite useless.
Yeah, I
oh,
mean, I
man,
feel
yeah,
like that's
PGA
just,
Tour is
yeah.
like the Rolls Royce of golf access at the moment. It's brutal. No, it's
PGA
really
Tour Live
bad.
has came a long way. We'll give that.
It has.
We don't
It
have
has.
like any
But
problems at this point.
The 3 streams are much appreciated compared
Yeah.
to 2.
Oh yeah, 100%. But even with Live, like they're it's really bad. Their leaderboard shot tracking is like shot 1 fairway, shot
Oh
2 green,
man,
shot 3. Like there's no detail whatsoever.
we have that at we have that at like what 2 courses a year, like Torrey Pines North, the other Pebble Beach courses that aren't Pebble for the Pro Am Bob.
Yeah.
We
We
have
haven't very well. I hopefully they'll. I don't think that's gonna happen anymore. But the international events, like the Mexico Open, we had that for. We had that for
Got
China.
one from T-Box.
But
So Live have got DC on May 26th, which is this week, and then they've got Valderrama June 30th.
That's cool.
that is really cool. Valderrama is one of my favorite courses in the world. So
Yeah.
I actually might tune into that just for the course.
Yeah, that's a great course.
When's the US Open? It's
You want to know another thing that Liv could really take advantage of? They need to make courses just like hard, like that the PGA Tour don't have the balls to do. Like if they make Valderrama as hard as it can be, imagine like
Valderrama's hard.
over winter.
Yeah.
Like that would be sick.
A lot of trees at Valderrama.
yeah. So they'll have basically they'll play DC this week, and then they'll have 2 weeks until the US Open, and then like a week off, and then they're in Spain.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. No, look, honestly, there's a lot they could do to compete. I think access, definitely the streaming is not there. Shot tracking is not there. I don't know. It's I love it and I hate it at the same time. I mean, it's great to watch good players play golf, but yeah, it's sustainable. I don't know.
Do you know anyone that went to Adelaide? I know it's kind of far from you, but like, was the
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
where you're
I know I know a lot of guys who actually flew in from different parts of Australia to Adelaide for the
That's
event.
cool.
I think like
So-
more than 50% of the tickets sold for the event were interstate
Yeah.
guests.
No,
or
Jordan
fans.
was telling me how Australia is like really not that much like less wide than the United States, which blew like surprised me because like when you think of it from the United States, you think of it as like I don't know
geographically.
why you think of it as so small, but you just in your head it seems so small compared to the United States, but it really is basically not. It's not that much smaller.
Well, I live in the state of Western Australia, right? Which is basically, we're really lazy with states. So pretty much half the continent is one state, which is the state of Western Australia. Like that's very original. You can fit most of Europe besides the obvious like Russia, etc. But you can fit most of Europe in Western Australia, if that makes sense.
It's so mind blowing to me. Like I
Yeah.
don't even.
Most of continental Europe, besides like your Russia, etc., you can fit into Western Australia. And I think geographically we're very similar in terms of landmass, bar like Alaska, to the US. But we're mostly generated or situated around the coast. A lot of our capital cities are like coast bound, where there's not a lot happening in the middle. Like you guys, with your expansion west. You guys did a bunch of cool shit in the middle. We said, fuck that. It's too hot. So yeah.
That's just yeah. Of course, your first time to the US, you spend most of it in Tulsa of all the places to visit.
Hey,
That's
that was a good
hilarious.
experience.
There's much more to see. Come
That was a
on,
good
come out to New York or Boston. I'm sure Jordan would be happy to have you in DC if you ever
Yeah,
want to see
exactly.
the capital. But
Are you in DC, Jordan? Are you gonna go to the live event?
I will not be at Live DC. But, I'm near Baltimore, which is about 45 minutes to an hour from DC. So
Oh yeah. You must have been a Wire fan. Did you ever watch The Wire? Is that
Yeah, of
religion?
course, obviously, yeah, for sure.
It's cool.
Yeah, you got to make your way
Mate,
back over though, man. I'm telling you, for one of these East Coast. I
I'll be
mean,
there. I'll come up.
next freaking U.S. Open or PGA in New York, just come because I mean it's nearly an automatic win for Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks winning it's like 50-50 whether he's gonna win. Like it might as well come.
He almost has the New York Slam. He just needs
Wingfoot.
Yeah.
50-50, you reckon?
Yeah, he's
It's
got
50-50
Oak He's got
wherever he plays,
Shinnecock, and he's
baby.
got-
Major Brooks is in the house.
Yeah.
He's back and bad. Hey, I'll make it over at some point. Look, Tulsa was all right, man. I mean, it was interesting to just see middle. It's basically like middle America, any town in
Yeah.
America, right?
Yeah, it's flat, really flat.
Yeah, it was an interesting vibe. I stayed in like the worst motel. I can't even remember what it was called. Was it a
There's
country inn?
There's
Is
our
that a- is that a
hospitality
chain?
right there. Yeah.
It's a country in is that what I stayed in? Something like that. And yeah, no, I had a couple of big nights out in the town. Probably not for this podcast for discussion, but
That's our hospitality
Yeah.
right there.
yeah, no, it was good. It was good. But
The
I
full
couldn't
American
believe,
experience.
Exactly.
dude, the exchange rate killed me. I was paying like 8-9 Australian dollars for a coffee. It was insane. It was like,
Well, how much is an Australian dollar worth?
like 60 US cents or something like that. 70
Okay.
cents. It's not much.
But so how much is a coffee in Australia?
So you guys would probably pay like $2 US
If you're at
For a
Starbucks, no.
for a decent coffee.
No.
We've had Starbucks for a while.
No,
like a
I
regular
don't
coffee.
drink coffee, but like you can't find anything for $2 over here anymore.
It's
Nah,
it-
like if
It's expensive.
if pricing is kind of parity, so you guys pay kind of $4 US or $5 US for a coffee.
Yeah.
The exchange rate for us, it's the buying power is the same. We're in a globalized world, right? We'd be paying like $8 for the same coffee.
So
Australia.
did you have to change it into American currency or would they?
I had some cash on me, but I was just using my credit card.
yeah. Makes sense.
They'll take your money no matter how you give it to
Yeah,
them.
they
It doesn't
will.
matter.
Yeah, they will.
Whether it's plastic or cash, it doesn't matter. They're
Fair
taking
enough.
it. Yeah.
Jordan, I don't.
Uh,
Do you have any last thoughts? Trying to think. Well, we'll have to have you back on when he wins the next New York Slam, whenever
Yes,
when the next
exactly.
New York major, whenever it is.
I think last.
it's only going to be another 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
It's always on
so-
our mind as a Spieth fan, but like, is the Grand Slam like starting to creep in? I know he needs 2 of them, but
He's definitely got. He's
Oh,
been in
well.
contention at all 4 of them. So
I think he'll win at Royal Liverpool. No worries. That's easy. That's easy. work.
Ooh, alrighty.
that's our territory.
That's our territory.
Let us
That's
have
easy.
one now. Now that
That's
if
easy work.
Jordan wins another one, he's still behind Brooks. So you
That's
gotta
like our only
gotta let
chance
us
here
get one
because I
now.
mean Jordan's going 80-80 at LA, so like our only chance is Liverpool.
Yes.
We got to get that one.
Yes, LA could be a rough week for Mr. Speed.
I don't know much about the course, LA Country Club.
It's hard. It is.
It's going to be really fun.
It's gonna be harder.
It's
than
so
it-
different from anything we like are used to.
Will Brooks be in contention again? Yes.
He seems like the
Yes.
player who would be.
It's going to be hard, so yeah, he'll just plot his way around, make pars, and
And I made some good money on him this weekend. I won't lie.
So did I. So did I. So that's good to hear.
I bet on Brooks in February at like 34-1.
I got him 36-1. So
Oh, so you bet on him early. That's
yes,
my boy.
I did.
That's my boy. Absolutely.
I have him 28-1 for next year's Masters already and 46 for the US Open. So
Yes. My boy.
I have to get those numbers before he starts winning every tournament known to
Exactly.
man.
Yeah, that's good. I think I've got a lot more fans on Twitter because a lot of people made money. They're like, who cares? He's a terrorist, but he's making me money.
that's just king. I mean, you got
Every time George Speed's in contention, I always gain 100 followers for just that week. They'll unfollow on Sunday.
Yeah.
They're like, listen, I need updates on the guy I have a lot of money on.
Didn't Big Cat have like a couple grand on him or something?
He won 60, I think 65 or 66K.
Wow.
But he only bet. Look, I mean, those guys got money. I think he only bet like $3,000 or 3K. So like given the context of the betting they do,
Yeah.
that's
Who is this?
Drop in the bucket. Big cap bet $3,000 on Brooks
Yeah.
to win the PGA.
Fair enough.
Brooks is cool how he like just hops on their podcast. Like Brooks, like I mean Jordan, like well, I shouldn't say it. Jordan's been on some podcasts, but like
Now that you
Barstool's-
now that you have a little money in your pocket from the win, you got to start doing like a bet on each of his majors. So if he wins, you can make another trip to the US for another one. Like a fund a trip campaign.
campaign, just absolutely destroy myself gambling. I've got him at the US Open at 41-1.
Yeah.
There we go.
And I've got him at the Open 41-1 and 9-1 for top 6.
Nice.
So
Well, I know that Dan's not here, unfortunately, because he's across the pond. But speaking of winnings, he had Brooks for the podcast picks last week, which put him in the lead of the competition.
Nice.
He put 20 on that. Paid out a pretty nice amount of go get that points. So, yeah.
Awesome.
But,
Boys. How do you guys think Speed's going to do this week?
Honestly, I have pretty decent feelings about the tournament this week. I'm really not worried.
He owns the golf course, so I mean,
he does own the golf course. These are always my favorite rounds to watch, just because no matter how he's playing, he'll always make just a ton of putts on this golf course, which keeps me entertained, because he'll just make 35 footers all over this place because it's just that kind of course for him. So I enjoy it. I enjoy the long bombs going in.
I gotta ask you, are you still watching any like PGA Tour golf without Brooks on the tour anymore, or?
Yeah, when Jordan's featured, baby.
Oh, that's all the time then. That's all the time.
Great to hear.
I do. Look, it's hard to, because man, honestly, tracking ruined it for me. I used to watch PGA Tour live all the time. Just for the love of golf. And obviously Jordan, I was a big Jordan fan, and then started tracking Brooks. And then now it's just really hard to watch golf when they're not playing.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah,
I mean, it's a good point.
Playing.
I don't watch golf when Jordan's not playing unless it's a major too. Like,
yeah.
No, it's a fair point.
I'm trying to see what his odds are for this week. Let's have a look.
Spieth is 14-1 this week.
Wow, what are you, like Vegas or something over there? What's going on, Bob? You sound like you got a bit of a gambling problem, my friend. Huh? Mr. Bookie. Gamble responsibly. Only bet what you can afford to lose. All right.
That's right. It is kind of a problem that I already know what Spieth's number is this week. I have a betting on Spieth problem. That's what I have.
In Australia, like gambling,
it's not profitable.
Sports gambling for a long time has been online. Like, we're very pro gambling in Australia. You guys have just recently, like in the last 4 or 5 years, and
in the last 4 or 5 years, it's gotten a lot more legalized.
I mean, I think majority of states are still.
Australia's been open for like a decade. Like, they don't we don't give a shit here. If you've got money to spend and you want to bet, you can do it however you want.
The government likes your money.
Any state, whatever you want. Exactly, that's right. But it's considered a windfall, so you don't pay tax on your gambling.
Oh, that's nice.
That is nice. We over here, I think it's like if you win a certain amount, you have to pay taxes.
I think it's state dependent too over here.
Yeah.
With that said, as much as there's gambling now advertised throughout all of our sport, our major codes and stuff, there's also a lot of anti-gambling. So I think part of legislation, you can only promote as much as you say it's bad, if that makes sense.
And that makes sense.
Interesting.
And there's all these like really corny, like, you win a little, but you lose a lot. Like, it's all these like little things that you remember because they're plastered everywhere. Like the one that I said, like, gamble responsibly.
But no, I just like gambling's become so big in my life just through like the podcast, especially just because it's become so big in golf. Like, I mean, now even on the PGA Tour website, the odds are to the right.
Yep.
Presented by Bet MGM or whatever it is. Like, it's becoming a big thing, and just like it's becoming so normalized.
They're starting to embrace it, and it makes them a lot of money.
Because honestly, it does get a lot of people invested into the sport. Gets people watching. But yeah,
here's a good question for you guys, seeing as we're talking just general golf. Who do you feel outperformed at the PGA, and who was your biggest disappointment?
Ooh, wow. Who outperformed? Well, Michael
I don't
Block
think Brooks is.
outperformed.
I don't think Brooks is the overperform, just because I did kind of expect him to play very well this week. So I wouldn't
No,
say.
outperformed. So like guys that you didn't expect would do well. Who's
Yeah,
your
so
lowest
that's why I said
outperform?
Brooks isn't my
Michael
guy.
Block.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Block.
Oh, but Michael Block, like,
Yeah.
disregard Michael Block. Disregard Michael Block.
Underperformed
Honestly, it
Tony
has to be
Finau. Tony Finau.
Tony
Underperformed.
Finau is my underperformed.
He shot like
Yeah.
17 over.
Tony Finau was my pick to win.
But he only won a
I
couple of weeks
overperformed
ago.
has to be Hovland. I didn't expect Hovland to
Look
have
at
the week around the greens, the patience around this
Great
golf
point.
course.
Putting as well. That's usually his area
Yeah.
of his.
He's starting to
that
improve.
goes
Though.
off.
Let's take a
Yes.
look here. Underperformed.
But yeah,
Oh, Michael Block.
Man, my outperform is Justin Rose.
Interesting.
I did not see that
Oh.
coming.
he is a little bit of an old head now.
Yeah,
Overperformed.
that was an outperform. Underperform, yeah. I mean, how can you go past John Rahm?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Man, if I had to
Like-
say someone I think overperformed, I'd say Bryson. I don't know if I expected Bryson contention
That's
on
a good
Sunday.
point.
Like
Feel that.
I could easily see him to play well, but contention on a Sunday, I don't know if I saw that.
Yeah,
Feel
that's a
that.
good point.
What about Raws? What do we think about good old McElroy?
I mean, him and
Expected.
Jordan are the same. They just
Well, his
can't
first few rounds were
cross the
expected.
line.
I didn't expect. I expected a miscut personally, so I guess he overperformed.
I mean, they're combined 15 years of not winning majors now.
Man,
Or he's
what's
on a
wrong with
9-year
Justin
drought.
Thomas?
I don't know.
This is Thomas just isn't that good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. Hey, we always get in these debates around guys getting married and kind of loving up. You know,
Yeah.
they get a bit soft, and it's all these kind of golf nerds that had no girls in high school, but they get married now, all this money, and they're like, "What do I need to do it anymore? I don't need to do it anymore.
I know.
What do I need
And
to
then
win
Spieth
for?"
hurts his wrist playing with his kid.
Yeah, shame. But that's all right. He'll be fine.
He'll
At
be
least
all
he didn't
right.
need-
Hopefully.
He didn't need surgery though, right?
No, we were nervous that it was going to be bad, and he seemed all right besides the bunker shots throughout the week. So I know we didn't
Yeah.
really talk about it, but yeah.
Well, Brooks
He
missed,
struck
I
it
think,
pretty well.
Brooks missed the 2018 Masters because of a wrist injury. So there
Yeah,
you
the
go.
wrist is scary.
The wrist is not a good injury for a golfer to have.
How's your golf going, Bob?
Honestly, I'm playing some really good golf right now.
Oh,
I
yeah. You know yourself. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I played really well last summer, and then I had just a fall off in the fall season with like
Yeah.
school golf, and I've started to pick it up pretty well. I've got a few under par rounds this year already, which is pretty nice. So
Man, you know, we don't have seasons in Australia, so we play golf year round, pretty much.
Yeah. That'll be me next year when I move to Arizona for college. So
Oh, are you going to Arizona State, or where are you going?
yes, Arizona
Oh,
State.
congratulations. Awesome,
Thank you.
brother.
Shit. Yes, I'll enjoy myself out there. I will enjoy the full year round golf.
Yeah, but make sure you're still getting an education at Arizona State. I've heard.
Yeah, I'll have to keep myself in
University,
check. You know, can't be
baby.
partying too much.
Oh, that's good to hear. Good to hear. All right, boys. Look, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to run.
Yeah, I gotta run
but
too, but
Awesome time.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming
Great-
on.
we really
Yeah,
do
no,
appreciate you.
pleasure.
It's been a blast.
We'll see you in
Always
a month.
welcome. Always welcome. So
I was going to say, good to see the pod doing well.
Appreciate
you guys
it.
grind, you hustle for it, and well deserved. And here's to 1 million followers, boys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate it. We'll see you in a month
Yes.
after the US
Cheers.
Open, obviously.
Cheers, boys. Take care.
Take care.
yeah.
Adios.
All right. Well, that was our interview with BKT, the GOAT, the best. Always great to have him on. I have to get going in a second too here, but thank you guys for tuning in. I know we really didn't touch much on the swab this week. We'll tweet our picks all out. All you got to know is that Spieth's probably winning. So yeah,
Spieth week, ladies and gentlemen.
it's a Spieth week. It
week.
is a Spieth week. But we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll have this posted on
Everything.
everywhere else tomorrow for you guys to listen. We've
Might be
linked
tonight.
we've linked the interview down below with him earlier. Earlier in the podcast's history, episode 9, that's when we talked about tracking Australia, the time zones, his thoughts on Brooks in that state, because that was back when he wasn't really in his highest form. Kind of see how it changed. So enjoy that. Appreciate you guys tuning in on a Wednesday, and hope you guys enjoy Colonial this week.
Yep. Take care.
Peace.